Part 2. 9 generations of villains, the heroines have all turned evil. Author, Fu Zituo. Chapter 11. Juyan sect regained its calm again. Xuanhuan and others recalled the moment just now and felt a little scared. No one knew why Zhang Lianyu changed her mind. The only thing they knew was, after slowly landing, she was like a child who had made a mistake, whispering softly, "Master cannot die." Hearing this, Xuanhuan was deeply moved. She quickly stepped forward, hugged Zhang Lianyu in her arms, and cried with joy, "Good disciple. Don't be afraid of madness, the Master will help you stabilize your heart, and the Master will definitely save you." In Xuanhuan's arms, Zhang Lianyu did not respond, but stared at Zhang Chen with her beautiful eyes, and then smiled. Zhang Chen was numb. He and Xuanhuan thought that Zhang Lianyu must have been stimulated by something, so she fell into madness. Just ask, how does it feel to be stared at by a madman? Just ask, how does it feel to have a madman smile at you? Ask again. How would you feel about a madman who can destroy the world and originally hated you, but is now smiling at you and smiling so beautifully? Anyway, Zhang Chen felt his scalp tingling at this moment. At this time, several streams of light were still coming rapidly, and Xuanhuan frowned slightly and went to meet them. Zhang Chen knew that the streams of light must be the head of the sect and a group of supreme elders. At this moment, he could only hope that the supreme elders would take Zhang Lianyu away and lock her up. Otherwise, he really couldn't bear the feeling of being stared at by a madman. As a result, Zhang Chen was disappointed. "I don't know what Xuanhuan said," and several streams of light returned to the first peak again. Zhang Lianyu was also a little surprised about this. This time, she thought she would definitely be locked up. If so, she could only explode the Emperor's source again as a threat. After all, it would be better to kill her directly than to let her never see Zhang Chen again. As for others thinking that she was crazy, Zhang Lianyu said it didn't matter. Since she went back to her 9 lives, she felt that she had never been so clear-headed. She didn't care about other people's thoughts at all. The person involved was confused. To be precise, blackening and madness are the same. Both were stimulated by something, which changed their temperaments drastically, becoming extremely cold-blooded and behaving in an incredible way. If they disagreed, they would let the 9 Yan sect bleed into a river. This was both blackening and madness. Otherwise, with Xuanhuan's cultivation, she would naturally be able to tell at a glance whether Zhang Lianyu was really sane. What did the Master say? Unable to resist his curiosity, Zhang Chen asked Xuanhuan. "The Master said that Lianyu didn't want to hurt me. Only by my side could she restrain her heart and stop self-destructing the Emperor's source," Xuanhuan replied. While speaking, she couldn't help but straighten her waist, obviously very proud. This made Zhang Chen feel funny, so he replied, "Master, don't straighten it, you have always been in good shape." Xuanhuan's face suddenly sank, and the change in her opinion of Zhang Chen just now fell to the bottom again. What she didn't know was, Zhang Chen was so boastful because he wanted to establish his villain persona. In the 9 reincarnations, his actions changed Xuanhuan's mind more than once, but these changes would disappear under various evil deeds by chance. This made Xuanhuan very painful. Even if Zhang Chen died, she still blamed herself and regretted it. She always believed that everything was her fault as a master. Zhang Chen's plan was very simple. Instead of letting Xuanhuan blame herself for her whole life, he might as well implement the villain label and tell Xuanhuan that this is her nature. No need to blame yourself. This is also the plot in the original book. Bold. How dare you talk to your master like this? Go back and reflect on your mistakes. Xuanhuan was angry and scolded immediately. "Oh." Zhang Chen put his hands on the pillow and turned back quickly. Zhang Lianyu thought about it and followed him in small steps. Xuanhuan wanted to stop him, but gave up the idea. Let Lianyu scare him, so he won't talk too much. Anyway, if something happens, I can rush there at the first time. She thought this was a good idea. Thank you, Master Xuanhuan Mawu, who had been stunned by the shock, bowed and saluted. In fact, he had wanted to leave a long time ago, but Zhang Lianyu didn't leave, so he didn't dare. The scene just now, just thinking about it made him feel creepy. Elder Wu, there is no need to be polite. Xuanhuan raised his hand to support him. With the relief of surviving the disaster, Ma Wu said again, Master Xuanhuan, I think Zhang Lianyu's madness should be caused by Zhang Chen. You still have to investigate this matter in detail, and if necessary, you still have to ask the Law Enforcement Hall. Shut up, Xuanhuan interrupted coldly, don't worry about my Xuanfeng affairs, Elder Ma. I know how to teach my disciples. I spoke out of turn. Ma Wu bowed again. Xuanhuan's protection of his shortcomings is well known in the entire Juyan sect. But he believes it. Sooner or later, Xuanhuan will see through Zhang Chen's despicable character, abolish his cultivation, and expel him from the sect. Alas! Thinking of this, Ma Wu sighed again in his heart. There are not many people like him who care about the sect and do not mix any personal feelings in Juyan section. On the hillside of Zhufeng Mountain, in front of the wooden pavilion. Along the way, Zhang Chen felt his back was hairy. Now that he had arrived at his residence, he could only look back helplessly. Fifth junior sister, Master ordered me to face the wall and reflect on my mistakes. It seems not good for you to follow me all the time. What's wrong with that? Zhang Lianyu pretended to be puzzled. Brother, don't you also think Lianyu is crazy? Then just treat me as crazy, and naturally there is no need to bother with a madman. Being crazy is the biggest problem, okay? Zhang Chen complained in his heart. He could predict the behavior of normal people, but how could he predict the behavior of a madman? What if Zhang Lianyu went crazy and picked up a sword to chop him? If you don't leave, do you believe I will beat you? Zhang Chen clenched his fist again, looking ferocious. I don't believe it, my current senior brother can't beat me. Zhang Lianyu shook her head with a smile on her lips. Zhang Chen was speechless. Although it was the truth, there was no need to say it out loud, right? Are the villains shameless? It's simply hateful. Although he complained in his heart, he was actually observing Zhang Lianyu's every frown and smile. Her eyes were clear and her logic was extremely clear. No matter how you look at it, it doesn't seem like she's crazy. Is this woman not crazy? She's pretending to be crazy and stupid, just to kill me? Zhang Chen guessed secretly. In the end, he decided to give it a try. Junior sister, this place is remote, and now we are alone, which makes me, your senior brother, have wild thoughts? While speaking, Zhang Chen took a step forward, stretched out his two salty pig hands, and while his 10 fingers kept shaking, his eyes full of greed kept looking at Zhang Lianyu, and he would occasionally chuckle hee hee. With such a look, I believe that any normal woman would be scared away by him. But the next scene made Zhang Chen stunned in place. With a slightly red cheek, Zhang Lianyu got into his arms like a loach. She buried her head in Zhang Chen's chest, and her slender hands, as if afraid of losing, tightly hugged Zhang Chen's waist. Before Zhang Chen could feel the soft jade and warm fragrance in his arms, he saw Zhang Lianyu's fragrant shoulders trembling slightly, and her voice was too weak to hear. As long as senior brother is willing, Lianyu can do anything. Hey! It seems that my junior sister Zhang is really crazy. Zhang Chen looked up at the sky with a look of regret, but his hands were wandering around. As a villain. If you don't take advantage of the opportunity, you bastard. Your behavior is consistent with that of a villain. Congratulations on obtaining the top-grade spiritual weapon, the Flame Blood Dragon Sword. 9 generations of villains, the heroines have all turned evil. Author, Fu Zituo. Chapter 12. In the end, Zhang Lingyu was driven away by Zhang Chen. It's not that he doesn't want to do something, but the risk is too great. Who knows whether Zhang Lianyu's madness is intermittent or permanent? What if she suddenly regained her clarity while she was in high spirits? Wouldn't her own life be at stake? But how could someone who is so good be so crazy? This plot was not written in the original novel. Isn't he suffering retribution? Zhang Chen thought gloatingly. 9 reincarnations, he kept telling himself. The misunderstandings and cold looks of the junior brothers and junior sisters are not their true intentions, but are influenced by this world and the aura of the protagonist. But even so, he still couldn't restrain his resentment. After all, after facing countless cold looks and accusations for 1,000 years, even a volcano would be cold. Returning to the wooden house, Zhang Chen thought, and a red blood sword came out of Yuandan and hung in the air. This sword is more than 3 feet long, and its body is as red as blood. There are 2 flame dragons entwining the hilt of the sword, with teeth and claws showing, so majestic. This is exactly the top-quality spiritual weapon he just obtained through the system, the flame-blooded dragon sword. The monks opened the purple mansion and condensed it into Yuandan, so that they could place the spiritual weapons there and keep them warm all year round. In this world, common spiritual weapons have 3 levels, low, medium, and upper. There are also top-grade and divine-grade weapons above them. As the first-class sect in the central region, Juyan sect's treasure is the divine spiritual weapon. Most ordinary Yuandan realm monks only have mid-grade spiritual weapons. Before Zhang Chen, Yuandan was deposed, Wen raised a high-grade spiritual sword in Zifu. But when Yuandan was abolished, this high-grade spiritual sword was also destroyed. As for the best spiritual weapons, they are basically in the hands of monks in the upper 4 realms. Xuanhuan has a red whip, which is absolutely powerful. Holding the flame blood dragon sword, Zhang Chen could instantly feel that the energy contained in it was too violent. If a monk from the lower 4 realms touches it, his mind will be swallowed up in an instant. Even if he holds it for a long time, he still has this risk. Putting the sword into the Yuandan to warm it up, Zhang Chen narrowed his eyes slightly and fell into deep thought. Ma Wu. This person who opposes him must die. But if he simply killed him, it would be difficult to satisfy Zhang Chen's hatred, so he decided to take another approach. 100 miles south of Juyan sect, there is a city named Qingxi City. That night, more than a dozen burly men in different costumes took advantage of the cover of night to sneak into the city. Everyone walked along the alley and finally arrived in front of a large house. This is the Ma family. The people living in it are the descendants of Ma Wu, his parents, wives, and children. The young master has an order not to leave any chickens or dogs in the Ma family. The Zhang family acts cautiously and never makes any mistakes. Do you need the consent of the family head first for this move? I asked you to do things, not to talk nonsense. We are the young master's servants. In everything we do, the young master's orders come first. This is also the master's order. I said too much. After saying this, everyone jumped up and fell into the Ma family's house. Soon, the lights of Ma's house turned on, and screams continued. By the time the Lord of Bluestone City came with his troops, it was already half an hour later. The scene in front of them made everyone take a breath. There were stumps of limbs and broken arms everywhere, and more than 40 members of the Ma family fell into a pool of blood. Men, women, old and young, without exception. If you really do it, no chickens or dogs will be spared. There is still vitality left, it should be the Yuandan realm monks who took action. I'm afraid they are all in the Yuandan realm, otherwise it would be impossible to be so fast and there would be no signs of fighting. These people are well trained, not like ordinary monks, but like an army. Oh my God, who did this Ma family offend? To bring about such disaster? Report this matter quickly. Send one more person to report to Juyan sect. The next day, Juyin sect. Ma Wu was refining elixirs in the alchemy room. Boom. Feeling uneasy, this was the third time he had exploded the elixir. No more practice, no more practice. Ma Wu walked out of the alchemy room with a dark face, looking extremely irritable. When the Dan boys saw this, they lowered their heads one after another and did not dare to make any sound. What caused Ma Wu to be like this? Besides still being frightened by what happened yesterday, he also had a bad premonition. As a Yuan Dan monk, Ma Wu knew that there must be a reason for this premonition, but he had no clue for a while. Is there any movement in the 9 peaks? He asked Yu Dan Tung casually. Elder, I quietly inquired about it while I was delivering the elixir. It seems that Zhang Chen was punished by the Lord of the 9 peaks to face the wall and think about his mistakes, Dan Tung replied. Just facing the wall and thinking about it, Ma Wu frowned. What is the difference between this kind of punishment and no punishment? If you ask him, he should at least deprive himself of his true disciple status. After all, Zhang Chen. What did Zhang Chen do yesterday? After thinking for a long time, Ma Wu could not find a suitable crime. After all, he and Zhang Chen just had a verbal dispute yesterday, and it was Zhang Lianyu who almost killed him and brought trouble to the sect. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. Yes. Bewitching. It must be Zhang Chen who knew that Zhang Lianyu fell into madness and bewitched him, which almost caused a catastrophe. His heart is worth killing. Master, why are you targeting senior brother Zhifeng so much? The young apprentice asked. Targeted? Ma Wu, act magnanimously and never target anyone. Ma Wu looked disdainful and said sincerely, since you are my disciple, you should share the worries of the sect and Danfen. That Zhang Chen has a despicable character and countless evil deeds. If such people stay in the sect, it will definitely be a disgrace to the righteousness, and it will definitely bring disaster to the sect. Disciple has taken note of it. The apprentice nodded repeatedly. Well, it's strange to say. The Fengling Zhang family is a 1,000-year-old family after all, and the ancestors of the Zhang family are even more powerful. How could they give birth to a scum like Zhang Chen? The upper beam is not straight and the lower beam is crooked. I think the Zhang family it's not a good thing either. Ma Wu began to think casually. Is the Fengling Zhang family strong? The apprentice asked again. Hearing this, Ma Wu's expression became slightly solemn. It's not that he is very strong, but he is very strong. Do you think that the sect doesn't know about Zhang Chen's evil deeds? Doesn't the law enforcement hall know about it? The reason why he turns a blind eye is not is it because Xuanhuan is partial and cares about the Zhang family? The Juyin sect is already a first-class section apart from other sects of the same level in the central region, only the imperial dynasty can rival it. But even so, the Juyin sect is still afraid of the Zhang family. Doesn't this mean that the Juyin sect has to be careful with the Zhang family's strength? Thinking of this, the young apprentice took a breath of cold air and decided to go around Zhang Chen when he met him in the future. Seeing that his apprentice was frightened, Ma Wu frowned again and reprimanded, "Why are you so cowardly? No matter how strong the Zhang family is, what does it matter? Zhang Chen joined the Juyin sect and is a disciple of the Juyin sect. As everyone knows, I compete with him. Are you still safe? Give him 100 courages, will he dare to attack me? The rules are not a decoration." The words just fell. Elder Ma. An elder from the law enforcement hall, armed with a spiritual sword, arrived anxiously and said, "Something big has happened. More than 40 members of your Ma family were massacred overnight. No chickens or dogs left." What? Ma Wu jumped up in shock. The Ma family was slaughtered. Puff. The next second, his vision went dark, and after spitting out a mouthful of old blood, he passed out. Seeing this, the young apprentice on the side turned pale and trembled. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 9 generations of villains, the heroines have all turned evil. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 13. Host's behavior is consistent with the villain's personality. Reward, minor success in swordsmanship, sword energy takes shape. Sword energy takes shape? In the wooden pavilion, Zhang Chen raised his eyebrows. There are entry, minor success, major success, and master levels in swordsmanship. Ordinary cultivators need to serve the sword for 10 years, sharpen the sword for 10 years, and practice the sword for 10 years before they can enter the swordsmanship, be one with the sword, and gain the sword heart. Swordsmanship has always been known for killing. Cultivators who have gained the sword heart not only have more powerful sword styles, but are also rare opponents at the same level. When the sword heart is honed to the extreme, it can go one step further and reach the minor success level, thus transforming the sword energy. When Zhang Lianyu tried to kill Ma Wu, the several icy sword chi she released were the sword energy taking shape. Specifically, as long as there is enough time to settle, even if you are a mediocre person, you can reach the entry level of swordsmanship. But if you want to go one step further, talent and perseverance are indispensable. The simplest example is: there are many sword cultivators who can transform into a physical form with sword energy in Juyin sect, but most of them have a lifespan of over 100 years and have studied sword art for many years. But Zhang Lianyu learned sword art at the age of 8, and at the age of 18, she had already transformed into a physical form with sword energy. This is the posture of a female emperor. Zhang Chen's talent is 1 in a million, this is the setting of the original work. As a big villain, he naturally needs to have good talent and a strong background, so that the protagonist can slap him in the face. In the 9 reincarnations, Zhang Chen has practiced sword art to the extreme for several lifetimes. He once broke a mountain with 1 sword, and also cut off the sea with 1 sword. Under the influence of the villain's halo, he was besieged by 5 sword masters of Qiyao Sword Pavilion, and finally fought 1 against 5 and killed several people. That battle made him stand above the sword masters, shocked the central region, and was even rumored to have the posture of a sword emperor. But the result? Not long after the incident, he was beaten up by the protagonist and a group of female protagonists and female supporting roles. In the end, he ended up self-destructing his own spiritual sword and fled thousands of miles. In short, the system's reward sounds impressive, but Zhang Chen has practiced sword for 9 lifetimes, and his understanding of swordsmanship is still there. Even without the system, he only needs to concentrate on practicing for a few months to achieve a small success in swordsmanship and reach the realm of sword energy transformation. Now it is just a little earlier. In the blink of an eye, it was a few days later. The entire Ma family was slaughtered, and the elder Ma Wu of Danfan was so angry that the Dan fire in his body went out of control, and the Dan fire entered his heart and fell into a coma. This matter was a hot topic in Juyin sect. Especially after learning the results of the investigation by the Lord of Qingxi City, the disciples of Juyin sect were all shocked. The villains who massacred the Ma family were all Yuandan cultivators, and there were as many as a dozen of them. What is this concept? In the central region, Yuandan cultivators in ordinary sects are already a foundation. Even in a first-class sect like Juyin sect, they are also true disciples or elders. But to massacre the Ma family, which only had lower 4th realm cultivators, they actually dispatched more than a dozen Yuandan realm cultivators. This is not killing a chicken with a butcher knife, but killing an ant with a butcher knife. Then, another question came. Although there are many sects in the central region, with more than a dozen Yuandan cultivators. But these Yuandan cultivators are proud of their status and it is impossible for them to gather together to attack the Ma family. Even if it is a first-class demon sect, it is impossible to lower their status like this. But in this case, who is the person who slaughtered the Ma family? Everyone couldn't help but think about it. No matter how you look at it, This matter does not seem to be done by the Central Region forces, but more like an external force coming to the Central Region to commit crimes. Thinking of this, a name that would make people feel afraid just by saying it emerged in everyone's mind. Upper Region, Fengling Zhang family. Everything instantly became reasonable. The conflict between Zhang Chen and Ma Wu has lasted for a long time, and many people know about it. As the only son of the Fengling Zhang family, Zhang Chen definitely has reasons and strength to do such a cruel thing. Although it is reasonable, there is no real evidence. But I don't know why. The moment Zhang Chen's name appeared in their minds, almost everyone subconsciously determined that this must be Zhang Chen's doing. There is no second possibility. For a time, Juyan sect was full of discussions. Wherever Zhang Chen went, the disciples avoided him like a tiger. If it was really unavoidable, these people would flatter Zhang Chen while insulting and cursing him in their hearts with the most vicious words. Zhang Chen didn't care about this at all. In the 9 reincarnations, the Ma family was slaughtered several times. Even if it was not his doing, it was still counted on him. It was also because of this that his hatred with Ma Wu reached the point of no end. This is the aura of the villain. Under the influence of the aura of the villain, whether Zhang Chen did it or not, he would definitely take the blame. No matter what he does, his favorability in the hearts of others will continue to decline. In the 9,000 years of the past, Zhang Chen didn't know how many pots he had taken and how many misunderstandings he had suffered. But in this life, facing the curses and fears of others, he felt extremely comfortable. Because he really did it. There is no misunderstanding. In the original plot, Zhang Chen, the villain, also attacked the Ma family. But this happened after the protagonist Lin Feng became a disciple of Juyan section. He only killed a few people and did not exterminate the entire Ma family. The next day, Zhang Chen was practicing sword in front of the wooden pavilion. Zhang Lianyu squatted beside him, with her hands on her face, looking at him with a smile. Fifth junior sister, don't you have anything else to do? Zhang Chen frowned. In recent days, with the first ray of dawn in the morning, Zhang Lianyu would appear in front of the wooden pavilion, stay there for a whole day, and leave only after nightfall. During this period, she did nothing but looked at Zhang Chen and smiled foolishly. If Zhang Chen talks to her, she will smile more charmingly. If he doesn't talk to her, she won't say a word. For me, being able to see my brother every day is the most important thing. After hearing this, Zhang Lianyu smiled like a flower. You don't practice anymore? Zhang Chen asked again. How is that possible? Zhang Lianyu shook her head and said proudly, every night, I practice, and I practice very seriously. Seeing her look of please praise me, Zhang Chen was speechless. Appear here during the day and go back to practice at night. This also means that Zhang Lianyu has not rested at all in recent days. Although cultivators do not need to sleep, long-term nervous tension is harmful to the heart of Tao, so they will occasionally fall asleep, or rest through meditation and other methods. Although Zhang Lianyu does not have any abnormality now, if this continues, she will go crazy at the least, or completely lose her mind at the worst. Go back to sleep. Do you believe I will strip you naked and throw you at the gate of Zhifeng? Zhang Chen threatened fiercely. It's not that he didn't want to, but it was really creepy to be stared at by a madman every day. What's more, this madman might get even crazier. But Zhang Chen regretted it as soon as he finished speaking. According to his understanding of Zhang Lianyu, the latter has always been arrogant. Faced with such a teasing threat, she will definitely go crazy. If so, with his initial cultivation of Yuandan, he might really give up his life. Thinking of this, Zhang Chen's internal energy circulated, and he quickly gathered his feet, ready to retreat first. He took a step forward. Wu, senior brother is actually concerned about me. After a slight tremor in her delicate body, Zhang Lianyu actually covered her face with both hands and burst into tears. Staggering, Zhang Chen felt his head buzzing. 9 generations of villains, the heroines have all turned evil. Author, Fu Zituo. Chapter 14. Li Faju, the chief elder of Juyan Sect Law Enforcement Hall. He has severe facial features, is unsmiling, and does not show anger or authority. With peak Tianyuan cultivation, he is only one step away from the upper 4 realms. The Law Enforcement Hall is directly under the jurisdiction of the head of the Juyan sect and does not have a hall leader. Therefore, Li Faju is responsible for all matters, big and small. On this day, Li Faju appeared at the foot of Zhufeng Mountain carrying a simple long sword. After seeing him, Zhufeng disciples felt happy in their hearts. Ma Wu is the Danfan elder of the Juyan sect, and the Ma family is labeled as a member of the Juyan sect and is protected by the Juyan sect. Now that the Ma family has been massacred and Ma Wu is still unconscious, the Law Enforcement Hall will naturally not sit idly by. All the disciples knew without thinking that Li Faju came in person today to question Zhang Chen. If the charges are proven, Zhang Chen will be severely punished even if he relies on the Fengling Zhang family. The minor consequences include abolishing the cultivation level and expelling the Juyan section. More importantly, it is not impossible to execute him directly according to the sect's rules. After all, although the Fengling Zhang family is strong, they don't dare to act recklessly. The imperial decree is not a decoration. The Ma family is insignificant, and the dynasty may turn a blind eye if it is massacred. But if the Fengling Zhang family dares to leave the upper domain and directly attack the sect in the middle domain, this is a crime of genocide according to the imperial law. Today, I must purge the sect and defend the Juyan sect's rules. Li Faju looked up at the mountainside with cold eyes. Stepping into Zhufeng, he did not go to see Xiao Hong'ai, but went straight to the attic among the mountains. He originally wanted to spread his aura and use his peak Tianyuan cultivation to scare Zhang Chen first, in order to achieve the purpose of showing off his power. But the scene in front of him made him stunned. The expression is like seeing a ghost. All I saw was the open space in front of the wooden pavilion. Zhang Chen was lying on a wooden chair with a comfortable look on his face. To his right was Zhang Lianyu. Lianyu, senior brother, I'm thirsty. Lianyu, come and give me a squeeze on your senior brother's shoulders. Lianyu, just now the sword energy in my hand transformed into shape. I want to ask you if you are awesome. Lianyu, from now on if anyone provokes me, senior brother, you will beat him. Do you understand? With every word, Zhang Lianyu would smile and get busy with a happy face. Sometimes she clapped, sometimes she nodded, and she was extremely obedient. At first glance, people who don't know may think that Zhang Chen has taken on a new maid. Bold, after coming back to his senses, Li Faju was furious. Who is Zhang Lianyu? She looks like an empress, the sect's charming daughter. The hope of Zhufeng and even Juyan sect. Everyone in the upper echelons of the Juyan sect knew that Zhang Lianyu fell into madness and her Taoist mind was unstable. As the senior brother of Zhufeng, Zhang Chen didn't take care of him, so he took advantage of it and treated him like a maid. This is absolutely intolerable. Zhang Chen. You, the scum of the sect, don't have any conscience at all, Li Faju roared angrily, his voice like thunder. Conscience. These two words hit his ears, and Zhang Chen immediately sneered. Over the course of 9 lifetimes and 1,000 years, wasn't it the self-proclaimed just men like Li Faju who trampled his conscience to pieces? Why did you go to talk to him about your conscience now? Elder Li is here, what's the matter? The answer was not what he asked. Zhang Chen asked knowingly. You scorned your junior sister, beat your junior brother in front of you, slaughtered more than 40 members of the Ma family, and left no chickens or dogs behind. At this time, you deceived my sect Tianxiao. Such evil behavior has never appeared in my Juyan sect for thousands of years. You will be punished for several crimes, and I will take you down today. Li Faju's eyes widened in anger. Oh, come on then. You still dare to quibble, see if I don't, what? Li Faju was confused. According to his expectation, wouldn't Zhang Chen try his best to quibble and even move out of the backstage of the Fengling Zhang family? Why, just let him come directly. This plot is wrong. Just when he was still in a daze, he saw Zhang Chen saying to Zhang Lianyu, "Junior sister, I have been wronged without any evidence. Senior brother, I am in a very bad mood right now." Since senior brother is in a bad mood, then Lianyu. The smile faded, and an ice jade cold sword appeared in Zhang Lianyu's hand. She looked directly at Li Faju, her eyes were cold, then Lianyu will kill someone to help senior brother. Hearing this, Li Faju's face suddenly froze. Kill him for fun? He, the dignified elder of the law enforcement hall, has actually become Zhang Chen's entertainment tool? More importantly, these words actually came from Zhang Lianyu's mouth. Li Faju understood instantly. It seems that Zhang Lianyu's level of madness is far beyond his understanding. But the problem is, Zhang Lianyu is crazy, so be it, but why do you just listen to Zhang Chen's words like this? Zhang Chen didn't have an answer to this question. At the beginning, he also felt that it was unreasonable. But it is undeniable that after getting along with each other for several days, Zhang Lianyu did obey her words. Really unable to figure it out, he attributed it to retribution. As for Zhang Lianyu's suggestion of killing people for fun, Zhang Chen just smiled. Although he did not agree, his eyes full of meaning were obviously saying, "Come on. Kill him." Without any hesitation, Zhang Lianyu walked away with her sword. The cold air suddenly appeared on her body, which was several times stronger than last time. It's only been a few days since the last time she wanted to explode the Emperor's source, but her cultivation has improved by leaps and bounds, from the human Yuan to the earth Yuan. Upon seeing this, Zhang Chen's pupils shrank and he was amazed in his heart. This cultivation speed is simply unbelievable. It's so exaggerated that it can no longer be described with talent and the appearance of an empress. What Zhang Chen didn't know was, as the saying goes, blackening is 10 times stronger and whitening is 3 times weaker. After 9 lifetimes, Zhang Lianyu, like Zhang Chen, repeated her own 9 lifetimes and accumulated thousands of years of skills and understanding. This, coupled with her hard work, made her progress so fast. From beginning to end, she had only one goal: to become stronger. Only in this way can she kill every enemy of Zhang Chen. Only in this way can she destroy the world. Let's talk about Li Faju. When he noticed Zhang Lianyu's cultivation, he was also shocked. Then, he was ecstatic again. The appearance of the Empress is indeed extraordinary. If she grows up smoothly, it will definitely be a blessing for the Juyan sect. Li Faju thought to himself. While thinking, the ice jade cold sword had arrived. Li Faju dodged sideways, instinctively wanting to unsheath the ancient sword behind him, but he hesitated. He didn't want to hurt Zhang Lianyu. Although Zhang Lianyu is now a Daiyuan cultivator, he is practicing swordsmanship and his cultivation is also at the peak of Tianyuan. If Zhang Lianyu wants to hurt him, she has to self-destruct the Emperor's source again like last time. But if that happens, the Juyan sect will be in great trouble again. Helplessly, Li Faju could only use his energy to shout, "Master Zhufeng, are you going to let your apprentice do whatever he wants?" The voice spread out, startling countless birds. The next moment, a red-clothed man descended from the sky, and Xuanhuan appeared as expected. "Get out." Her voice was cold, and the ever-increasing aura caused the world to change suddenly. "That's right. Zhang Chen, you are a scum of the sect, you are not worthy of being the true disciple of Zhufeng. Get out of Zhufeng quickly and follow me back to the law enforcement hall to be punished." Li Faju nodded as a matter of course. "I'm talking about you." Turning around suddenly, Xuanhuan looked coldly. While speaking, a red whip appeared in her hand, the whip body was like scales, burning red, causing the temperature around to rise suddenly. Me, pointing at his nose, Li Faju was confused again. Without any evidence, you dare to come to my Zhufeng to arrest people? If you don't leave within 3 breaths, you will stay. 9 generations of villains, the heroines have all turned evil. Author, Fu Zituo. Chapter 15. In the end, Li Faju gritted his teeth and left. He is not Xiao Hongai's opponent, why should he humiliate himself? Although it is an indisputable fact that Zhang Chen has a full family of slaughter horses, there is no evidence for this matter. Even if it comes to the boss, he will not be justified. However, before leaving, Li Faju still said, Master Jupik, Zhang Chen is hopeless, please put the right path of the sect first. Xiao Hongai was silent after hearing this. She just stood like this, staring at the sky, her beautiful eyes full of struggle. In fact, she also believed that Zhang Chen was responsible for the massacre of the Ma family. But there was no basis for this matter. As a master, how could she let Zhang Chen be taken away? Maybe today, she was wrong. But she also admitted her mistake. Why? Xiao Hongai let out another long sigh, which made everyone who heard it feel sad. Thank you, Master. He opened and closed his lips several times, and finally Zhang Chen had no choice but to salute and thank him. You. After looking at him deeply, Xiao Hongai replied, you can take care of yourself. A simple number, but full of sadness and loss. Zhang Chen's heart ached, but he could only shake his head and smile bitterly. The master and disciple fell silent at the same time. After a long time, Xiao Hongai lightly opened her red lips, your second junior brother's injury is better, and he can now get out of bed and walk since you were the one who severely injured him, go and apologize. Until he fully recovers, his life will also be different. Take care of you. I will obey the master's order. Zhang Chen saluted again. Seeing that he was rarely so well behaved, Xiao Hongai's mood improved significantly. Looking at Zhang Lianyu, she waved, Lianyu, come to master. Zhang Lianyu just watched silently, not moving an inch. Xiao Hongai was a little embarrassed, and then said, the Supreme Elder personally went to Ghost Ridge Soul Abyss and retrieved something called Xuanhuan Soul Fetus for you. This thing can help you stabilize your life. Tao Xin. Ghost Age and Soul Abyss? Zhang Chen was surprised and couldn't help but curl his lips. The Ghost Ridge and Soul Abyss is an extremely dangerous secret realm in the Central Territory, with countless ghosts and ghosts within it. The Xuanhuan Soul Embryo is an 8th grade spiritual treasure, which is transformed into the purest ghost spirit. It is not infected by ghost energy and can only be seen once in 1,000 years. If ghosts swallow it, they can remove their own hostility and condense their ghost bodies. When human monks take it, it can stabilize the Taoist heart, calm the mind and replenish the soul. Heavenly materials and earthly treasures are the same as elixirs, with the 1st grade being the lowest and the 9th grade being the highest. Such spiritual treasures always appear in the deepest part of the ghost abyss. Although the monks in the central realm covet them, they dare not set foot in them easily. The reason? It's just that there are ghosts in the depths of the ghost abyss that are comparable to monks in the upper 4 realms, and there are quite a few of them. The Xuanhuan soul fetus competing with these ghosts is too long-lived. Among the supreme elders of the Juyan sect, Zhang Chen knew only one person who could snatch food from these ghosts and escape intact. To be able to let the old immortal take action in person, it turns out that the sect's genius, the Empress's appearance is different. Zhang Chen was disdainful. He also has extraordinary qualifications. In the 9th reincarnation, he also shed blood and performed meritorious service for the sect. But what's the result? This is not the end of his cultivation being completely destroyed and being expelled from the sect. On the other hand, Zhang Lianyu. When she heard Xuanhuan soul fetus, a flash of surprise flashed in her eyes, but it was only for a moment. The next second, she heard her say, "No need, I'm not crazy." This gave Xuanhuan a headache, and she secretly thought that she was indeed a crazy person and didn't even know it. What she didn't know was, Zhang Lianyu is indeed crazy and has turned dark. But this is not due to an unstable Taoist heart and damaged soul, but because of 9 lifetimes of guilt and thousands of years of self-blame. Simply put, this is heart disease. There is no cure for heart disease, only heart medicine, even for monks. And her favorite medicine is Zhang Chen. Unless one day, Zhang Chen personally expresses his forgiveness, and he himself can let go of the resentment caused by the misunderstanding of the 9th generation, otherwise, Zhang Lianyu will continue to turn dark, and there is no cure. Be good, my disciple. I know you are not crazy, but what's the harm in giving it a try? Don't worry, Master will always be with you. Xuanhuan spoke patiently, like coaxing a child. But the one who answered her was Zhang Lianyu's eyes, as if she were looking at a fool. Xuanhuan was speechless again. This was different from what she expected. Judging from the last time Zhang Lianyu wanted to blow up the emperor's source, but cancelled it because she didn't want to hurt her, it was because she cared about her master. But now Zhang Lingyu's response is obviously not like this. Is the madness getting worse again? At this thought, Xuanhuan's eyebrows were filled with sorrow and she was at a loss. See it? Not wanting his beautiful master to be so worried, and wanting to send Zhang Lianyu away quickly just in case, Zhang Chen finally said, "Junior sister, you must listen to your master." Oh. Zhang Lingyu nodded and took small steps to Xuanhuan's side. Xuanhuan had a question mark on her face. What's the situation? She recalled the last time Zhang Lianyu blew herself up to Emperor Yuan, and an incredible thought came to her mind. Could it be? From the beginning to the end, Zhang Lianyu only listened to Zhang Chen's words. On the way to the first peak, the more Xuanhuan thought about it, the more it seemed possible. As the master of the 9 peaks, as long as she is willing to investigate, not a single plant or tree in the 9 peaks can escape her consciousness. When Zhang Chen summoned Zhang Lianyu like a maid, she thought it was just because Zhang Lianyu was unconscious. Now it seems that this may not be the case. This time, Xuanhuan was even more worried. As a master, she always wanted her disciples to be close and united, but not in this way. Although Zhang Chen did not do anything out of line, this was not okay. She did not want her 5 disciples to stay with Zhang Chen for a long time and be affected by any bad influence. One traitor had already exhausted her. If there was another one, wouldn't it drive her, the master, crazy? The more she thought about it, the more Xuanhuan felt that she could not let it go. With a smile on her face, she raised her hand and stroked Zhang Lianyu's head, trying to make herself look more amiable. "Lianyu, will you follow the master in the future? Never go to see your senior brother again, he..." Boom. Before she finished speaking, a cold breath burst out from Zhang Lianyu's body. The breath became stronger and stronger, causing Xuanhuan to tremble. Worried that Zhang Lianyu might explode her emperor source again if she disagreed with him, she had to comfort him quickly. "We were just joking just now. You are senior brothers and sisters, so you should walk around more." Sure enough. As soon as these words came out, Zhang Lianyu instantly restrained her breath and even nodded obediently. "But your senior brother?" Xuanhuan took the opportunity to say again. Boom. The icy breath appeared again, even more fierce than the last time. Xuanhuan was speechless. She finally saw it. Anyone who wanted to stop Zhang Lianyu from seeing Zhang Chen, or said bad things about Zhang Chen, Zhang Lianyu would go berserk. Regardless of the target. What kind of thing is this? If Xuanhuan's cultivation was not so profound, she could see at a glance that Zhang Lianyu was in good health, and she would definitely suspect that Zhang Chen had put a goo on Zhang Lianyu. Forget it, let's wait and see. Sighing in her heart, Xuanhuan had to change the subject forcibly, haha. Today's weather is good. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 9 generations of villains, the heroines have all turned evil. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 16. After Xuanhuan and Zhang Lianyu left, Zhang Chen went to the top of the 9 peaks. There is the main palace of Zhifeng, and it is also the residence of his senior brothers and sisters. On weekdays, he never goes. The reason is simple. Junior brothers and junior sisters all hate him, and he himself also feels aggrieved. In this case, it's better not to meet. If he meets him, he will do what a villain should do and get system rewards. Walking along the ancient brick avenue, the 9 Peaks disciples on the way all looked frightened when they saw Zhang Chen. These people are the disciples of the elders of the 9 Peaks. Unlike the true disciples such as Zhang Chen and Zhang Lianyu, they are also responsible for some chores on weekdays. At this time, many disciples were cleaning the white bricks leading to the main hall, but I don't know who shouted, "Big Brother is here." In an instant. Most of the sweeping disciples dispersed and disappeared in an instant. Several disciples who were close to Zhang Chen and had already been noticed by Zhang Chen had no choice but to step forward and salute tremblingly, "I have seen senior brother." Zhang Chen just nodded slightly and ignored him. This made the disciples breathe a sigh of relief. "You, go clean my wooden pavilion. Send the supplies there." By the way, Zhang Chen suddenly pointed at a female disciple. The female disciple was so frightened that her face turned pale. What? Didn't you hear?" Zhang Chen's eyes were fierce and he said with a bad attitude, "Remember, the water I drink can only be the spiritual water from the spring at the top of the 9 peaks. The spiritual rice I eat must be of the highest quality. You can make do with the fruit, but you have to pick it at least once every 10 years. Hearing this, the female disciple couldn't help but twitch her mouth. Even the peak leader Xuanhuan is not so particular about life. "I will go back to check later. If there is any dust in the wooden pavilion, you know the consequences," Zhang Chen said softly. Although his tone was calm, the female disciple was so frightened that she almost collapsed on the ground. Maybe since Zhang Chen was severely punished by Xuanhuan last time, he didn't dare to do something too outrageous in the sect. But the Ma family was being slaughtered right in front of them, and no one wanted to be concerned about him. "Why don't you go quickly?" Zhang Chen frowned. I'll go right away." The female disciple was so frightened that she jumped up and ran away. Period. She was so frightened that she almost fell from the stone path into the cliff. In this regard, the disciples watching from a distance could only sigh and express that they were helpless. Continuing to move forward, Zhang Chen arrived at his destination. In front of him was a 3-story pavilion bookstore with red pillars and green tiles, an antique style. If you listen carefully, you can hear bursts of reading sounds coming from inside. A gentleman is careful to be independent and does not deceive the dark room. He is humble enough to feed himself, and he can be chaste if he follows the rules. The master said, "If a gentleman is not serious, he will not have authority, and if he is learned, he will not be solid. The master is loyal and trustworthy. If you have no friends who are inferior to yourself, don't be afraid to correct your mistakes." The master also said, "A gentleman does not lose his footing in others, does not lose his beauty in others, and does not lose his words in others. Therefore, a gentleman's appearance is enough to be intimidating, his appearance is enough to scare him, and his words are enough to be trustworthy." Hearing the sound of reading, Zhang Chen smiled disdainfully. He strode forward and pushed open the red door of the bookstore. Boom! The reading stopped abruptly. I saw only the book pavilion. A young man wearing a scholar's green robe and a ceremonial crown, with a fair face, was holding a book in one hand and holding the other behind his back, his face darkened. Second junior brother, a gentleman who opens his mouth and a gentleman who keeps his mouth shut, you are worthy of being called the sage of calligraphy of Zhifeng. It's just that your calligraphy sage is a bit weak. My brother only had a brief discussion with you, and you have been bedridden for more than a month, Zhang Chen sneered. Road. This young man is Lin Mubai, the second true disciple that Xuanhuan has accepted after Zhang Chen. To be precise, Lin Muabai's cultivation talent is definitely the best among Xuanhuan's disciples. Although Zhang Lianyu has the appearance of an empress, in terms of cultivation talent, there is actually not much difference between her and Zhang Chen, both of them are just 1 in a million. But Lin Mubai was different. He has an innate Taoist bone, and he also has the ribs in front of his heart. Those with innate Tao bones have no bottlenecks in their cultivation. Whether it is the way of swordsmanship, the way of swordsmanship or the way of alchemy, they can master it with just one glance. If you fall into a state of enlightenment, it is common for you to break through several realms. This kind of talent will never come to anyone in 10,000 years. Of course, there are also shortcomings. That is, the innate Taoist bones and luck are not enough, and they seem to be jealous of the world, and they will encounter many disasters. Originally, with Lin Muabai's talent, if he devoted himself to practice, even if he could not become a great emperor, his achievements would not be low. But this guy is a deadbeat. He has been fond of reading since he was a child and did not want to enter Taoism through martial arts. Instead, he wanted to imitate Emperor Wen. He lived in poverty for thousands of years. Although he could not make any progress in his cultivation, he could cultivate his awe-inspiring righteousness by reading the books of sages and achieve the throne of the emperor in one day. It is also because of this that Lin Mubai, who possesses the innate Taoist bones, is only at the beginning of his Yuan Dan cultivation. This is caused by the innate Dao bones absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth on their own. In the original work, ever since he became a disciple of Xuanhuan, Lin Mubai had been ashamed of Zhang Chen. He studied the books of sages and cultivated righteousness, so naturally he couldn't stand the villainous senior brother who did all kinds of evil. The two of them frequently quarreled, and Zhang Chen beat him frequently, which was like fire and water. After 9 reincarnations, Zhang Chen continued to release goodwill and wanted to change Lin Muabai's prejudice against him. But Lin Mubai had already concluded that his senior brother was hopeless, so he was always wary of such goodwill. Even if he had a change of heart towards Zhang Chen, his goodwill would fall to the bottom again due to the protagonist's instigation and various coincidences. More than a month ago, Lin Mubai couldn't stand Zhang Chen taking away the Yulong spiritual herb that the third junior sister was going to use to break through, but just as he spoke out to stop him, Zhang Chen beat him up and made him bedridden for more than a month on the grounds that he didn't show respect to his senior brother. This incident made him understand. Senior brother Zhang Chen is the evil in the world. If he succeeds in becoming an emperor through literature one day, he will punish evil and promote good. Clean up the world. Glancing at Zhang Chen with disgust, Lin Mubai shook his head slightly. He put away the book in his hand, held it in his arms like a treasure, and then gently placed it on the table, brushing off the dust on the book. After everything was done, he turned to look at Zhang Chen, and Lin Mubai said indifferently, "If you want to beat me, can you leave the library with me? These books are the result of my life's work. If you damage a page, it's better to kill me." Obviously, he has been used to being beaten by Zhang Chen. "You won't resist? My Yuan Dan was abolished by Master before, and now my realm is equal to yours," Zhang Chen asked back. "Since I have given up martial arts and turned to literature, there is no reason for me to resist with martial arts." Lin Mubai shook his head. "Brother, you can beat me if you want, just don't beat me into coma again. In exchange, I won't mention this to Master." "Don't want to be in a coma again? What, are you afraid?" Zhang Chen said with a playful look. No, Lin Muebai shook his head again and explained, this will affect my study time. What a nerd. Zhang Chen was speechless for a while. As Lin Muebai said, he really came here to beat people this time. After all, as a villain, his junior brother just woke up from a coma, and as a senior brother, he naturally had to care for him. But Lin Muebai's look of beat me quickly, hurry up made him feel bored. Suddenly, Zhang Chen remembered something and his eyes lit up. With a move of his body, he appeared in front of the desk, picked up a book casually, and said with a smile, second junior brother regards books as his life, as everyone knows. What do you think would happen if I destroyed all the books in this library? As soon as these words came out, Lin Muebai changed his indifferent expression and became panicked. The behavior is in line with the villain setting. Congratulations to the host for his cultivation, which has been upgraded from the early stage of Xuanhuan to the middle stage. 9 generations of villains, the heroines have all turned evil. Author, Fu Zituo. Chapter 17. Actually directly improve the cultivation level? Zhang Chen was startled by the system's reward this time. After the system prompt disappeared, a burst of vitality burst out of his body, causing books around him to fall from the bookshelf. Such a situation made Lin Muebai unbelievable. He knew that his senior brother was definitely a scumbag. But it's not like, just after he said that he wanted to destroy his books, he was excited to break through the small realm, right? Could it be that doing something evil made Zhang Chen so excited? After coming back to his senses, Lin Muebai picked up the books on the floor with a distressed expression and put them back on the bookshelf. Then, he answered Zhang Chen's question just now, there are thousands of books in my library. If senior brother destroys any of them, I will sue the master and ask the law enforcement hall and the head to personally punish him. A scholar would still complain. Zhang Chen couldn't believe it. Do extraordinary things to extraordinary people, Lin Muebai said matter-of-factly. Zhang Chen was speechless again. It has to be said that this threat is very effective. Although Xiao Hongii is completely disappointed and it will be a matter of time before he is expelled from Juyan sect, this cannot happen now. After all, the protagonist has not yet become a disciple, and now he is expelled from the section. Who knows whether it will affect the final outcome? Furthermore, despite Lin Muebai's weak fighting ability, if he really fights for his life, the awe-inspiring righteousness he has developed in his body will be really troublesome. In this life, Zhang Chen finally had the opportunity to escape from this world and save his master and the Fengling Zhang family, so he must be cautious. But the problem is, if he gives in directly, he, a villain, will lose his face. Besides, Lin Muebai just used the word extraordinary person to describe himself. Can he bear this? Junior brother is joking. As senior brother, how could I destroy your beloved thing? Putting down the book, Zhang Chen grinned. To be honest, junior brother's injury has not healed. This time I came to take care of you on the order of my master. Your daily life. If that's the case, then please come back, senior brother. I can't afford your care, Lin Muebai flatly refused. How can that be done? Zhang Chen's face was stern. I have already thought about it. In order to help my junior brother recover as soon as possible, I will take my junior brother to live in my mountainside wooden pavilion. During this period, please stop studying. Peace of mind, recuperate. Hearing this, Lin Muebai was shocked again. Don't let him study? That would just kill him. Junior brother, please don't resist. Senior brother is doing this for your own good. If you resist, then senior brother will have to take action. If you take action, then how many books will be destroyed in your library will have nothing to do with me. Zhang Chen said again. Threaten. The threat of Chikuakyo. To put it bluntly, you just don't want to make yourself feel better? Helpless, Lin Muebai had no choice but to give in. He bowed deeply, raised his hands and saluted. Senior brother, forgive me, I made a mistake just now. Zhang Chen accepted it calmly. After getting up, seeing Zhang Chen still staring at him, Lin Muibai had no choice but to bow again. Zhang Chen was satisfied now, rested his head on his head and left. But as soon as he reached the door, he turned around with narrowed eyes and threatened in a vicious voice, "Remember, before you see me next time, you must bow first. If you point fingers at what I do again, I will burn your library." And Zhang Chen suddenly smiled and said, "Junior brother, since your innate Taoist bone is useless, why not give it to me, senior brother?" Hearing this, Lin Muibai clenched his fists and clenched his teeth. After a while, the book pavilion returned to peace again, but he had no intention of reading any more. This is my senior brother. Not only did he rob his junior sister of opportunities, but he also made vicious threats to his junior brother. He even wanted to take away the innate Tao bone in his body. There is no friendship at all. Zhang Chen, you are like that wall of dung that is unstoppable. What will you do if you don't die? Lin Muibai cursed in a low voice. He reads books from saints and sages, and generally doesn't curse unless he can't help it. Lin Muibai didn't understand. Why can't Xuanhuan see Zhang Chen's true nature? Why do you still favor Zhang Chen, such a scumbag, so far? After the dull fourth junior brother was ridiculed by Zhang Chen in public, he left the sect on the grounds of mission and did not return for many days. The third junior sister was worried about being robbed of another opportunity by Zhang Chen, so she also used the mission as an excuse to go to the Hongduan mountains. Although the fifth junior sister has not left the sect, it is said that she has fallen into madness since the last time she was seen. He has no doubt that if this continues, the Nine Peaks will probably fall apart. I heard that more than 40 members of the Ma family in Qingxi City were also massacred by Zhang Chen. His actions have become more and more unscrupulous. If things go on like this, not only Zhifeng, but also Juyan sect will be affected. Lin Muibai was worried. But so what? Once he failed to enter Taoism through literature and attain the throne, there was nothing he could do against Zhang Chen. Feeling agitated, Lin Muibai took a pot of spiritual wine and drank it himself. He did not use the energy in his body to resist the alcohol, but after half a bottle of spiritual wine was taken into his stomach, his eyes were blurred and his face was slightly tipsy. After a few more cups of spirit wine fell into his stomach, he took advantage of the wine to shout, "Zhang Chen! You are not worthy of being the senior brother of Zhifeng. I will kill you sooner or later." Boom! Before he finished speaking, the door to the bookstore opened. The dull crashing sound instantly woke up Lin Muibai from drinking. It turns out it was the wind. I thought it was Zhang Chen who left and came back after investigating. Lin Muibai let out a long sigh of relief. Look how scared he is. In fact, he was not afraid of Zhang Chen, otherwise he wouldn't have repeatedly opposed him. I'm just worried that Zhang Chen will be so angry that he will actually burn his books. Hey, the bottle of wine is empty. I'd better go and have a rest. Drowsy, Lin Muibai felt the sunlight was a bit dazzling. He opened his eyes with difficulty and looked around. He found himself on the ancient brick road on the hillside of Zhifeng Mountain. Why am I here? Could it be that I can't handle the alcohol, so I sleepwalked here? Lin Muibai was a little confused. That being said, he had never heard of a Yuandan cultivator getting drunk to the point of sleepwalking. He really couldn't figure it out, so he gave up. He shook his head and prepared to go back to the library to read. He was disturbed by Zhang Chen yesterday, so he didn't have enough time to read. Today, he had to make up for it. Big brother is so nice. If it weren't for you, Qingning's Yulong Linko would have been snatched away by those bad guys. A familiar and pleasant voice came from the front. Along with the voice, a man and a woman came from the foot of the mountain, walking side by side. The man was handsome and dressed in white. The woman had black hair down to her neck and wore a simple emerald green dress. When she smiled, Two shallow dimples appeared on her face, which made her look gentle and lovely. Zhang Chen? Junior sister Qingning, Lin Mubai was stunned. He didn't react much to Zhang Chen's appearance. Anyway, his villainous senior brother did nothing every day, wandering around and bullying his fellow disciples for fun. But junior sister Qingning, didn't she go to the Hongduan mountains? Why did she come back so soon? It would be fine if she came back, but why did she get involved with Zhang Chen? Could it be? Lin Muibai's face suddenly darkened. He subconsciously thought that Zhang Chen must have used some sweet words to deceive Qingning again. Qingning had a simple personality and didn't know how bad her senior brother was. That's why she was fooled again and again. Zhang Chen. You are shameless, an angry voice suddenly rang out. Who said what I wanted to say? While giving a thumbs up in his heart, Lin Muibai turned his head and looked. He wanted to see who else in the Nine Peaks dared to be so fearless and hate evil. But when he turned around, his eyes widened and his face was full of disbelief. Because, what he saw was himself. Before he could come to his senses, another magical scene appeared. Dense golden lines appeared out of thin air, and after slowly converging, these golden lines intertwined and outlined each other, and finally formed three big words. First life. 9 generations of villains, the heroines have all turned evil. Author, Fu Zituo. Chapter 18. First life? Lin Muibai was stunned. He kept rubbing his eyes, and after making sure that he was not mistaken, he shook his head speechlessly. It turns out that I am still in a dream. No wonder he felt that the scene just now was very familiar. At this time, he finally remembered that this was exactly the situation more than a month ago. Lin Muibai remembered it clearly. That day, the third junior sister came back from going out and accidentally got the Yulong Linko that could help Yuandan realm cultivators break through the bottleneck. After Zhang Chen learned about it, he failed to deceive her and directly robbed her. The third junior sister is named Qingning. Although she is not talented, she has great luck and a pure character. Zhang Chen knew that she was easy to deceive, so he often used various means to take the opportunities she got for himself. At the beginning, Qingning also trusted her senior brother. But as the number of times she was robbed increased, especially after the Yulong Linko was taken away, she was completely disappointed with Zhang Chen, and even refused to call him senior brother. You must know that the Yulong spirit herb is her hope to break through to the human Yuan realm after experiencing life and death. After waking up from the coma, Lin Muibai wanted to comfort Qingning as soon as possible, but he learned that the latter had left the sect. He found Xiao Hong'ai and learned everything. Junior sister Qingning knew that she was not talented. Although she practiced hard, her cultivation never improved. The secret manual of the skills was like reading a heavenly book, obscure and difficult to understand. When the master saw that she could not enter the Yuandan realm for a long time, he went to Dangu Tower, which was also a first-class sect, regardless of his face, and asked for a perfect quality Po Yuandan for her. At that time, Qingning decided that she would never let Xiao Hong'ai down, and she must make Xiao Hong'ai proud of accepting her as a disciple. But reality slapped her hard. For a whole year. Not only could she not enter the human Yuan realm, her own vitality only increased slightly, and her combat effectiveness was not as good as that of the inner disciples of the same realm. Although it takes several years, or even decades, for ordinary Yuandan cultivators to enter the Renai Yuan realm from the initial stage of Yuandan, they also need to comprehend and settle down. But Qingning's identity is different. She is Xiao Hong'ai's direct disciple, and is the true disciple of Zhufeng of Juyan sect. Her eldest senior brother is 1 in a million in talent. It only took him more than a month from the initial stage of Yuandan to entering the Renai Yuan realm. Although she and her second senior brother have the same cultivation, the latter has abandoned his innate Taoist bones and only reads and writes every day. Although her fourth junior brother is dull, he is a rare woolly Huang body. This kind of physique cultivates the body without cultivating Taoism. As the body continues to strengthen, the cultivation is self-made, which is beyond her reach. Qingning knows that she is not as good as other brothers, but she also knows her strengths. She has been very lucky since she was a child, and has encountered many adventures. Compared with concentrating on hard practice, leaving the sect to travel and find all kinds of natural treasures in order to break through is the best way. The treasures that could help Xuanhuan realm cultivators break through, even if they have good luck, are not easy to find. She traveled for half a year. She had been to ancient sites in the wilderness and walked through mountains. During this period, she fell into a mountain stream and was chased by the devil. Although there were adventures, they were just ordinary treasures. Fortunately, God will not let down those who work hard. She finally found the Yulong Linko that can increase understanding and help Xuanhuan realm cultivators break through the bottleneck in the Hongduan Mountains, the territory of the demon clan and the forbidden area for humans. But who would have thought? The eldest brother of the two. The eldest brother who should have taken care of the junior brothers and sisters actually wanted to rob them. Zhang Chen first asked two lackeys to pretend to be villains and rob Qingning's Yulong Linko. At the critical moment, he appeared to rescue her and proposed to keep it for her. Qingning believed it at first. Even though Lin Mubai had seen through Zhang Chen's thoughts and was beaten for speaking out to stop him, she still believed him. Because she thought, no matter how bad her senior brother was, he would not cheat her junior sister of such an important item. But the facts slapped her in the face again. A few days later, Qingning stabilized her mind and asked Zhang Chen for the Yulong Linko after everything was ready. But the answer she got was, "What Yulong Linko? I haven't seen it." That day, Qingning left sobbing. The trembling back and choking crying made everyone sigh. After learning about this, Lin Mubai, who had finally woken up from a coma, almost fainted again. If it weren't for the victim Qingning kneeling down to beg for mercy, the furious Yao Hongii would have almost destroyed all of Zhang Chen's cultivation. Obviously. Even if her senior brother was like this, Qingning still couldn't bear to let him be severely punished. Although she couldn't bear it, she was completely disappointed. Soon, she left the sect and went to the Hongduan Mountains again, saying that the return date is uncertain. Thinking of this, Lin Muibai's nose was sour. What a good third sister. She should have grown up under the care of her master and senior brothers, but because of her incompetence and a scumbag senior brother, she was forced to stay away from the sect and be alone. For a while, the disgust reached its peak. Lin Muibai looked at Zhang Chen in the dream fiercely, and his gentle features were as if he saw a fly. Full of disgust. He was suddenly stunned again. Wasn't Zhang Chen wearing black clothes that day? How did he become white clothes? Lin Muibai was a little puzzled. But soon, he no longer paid attention to this. It's just a dream, and it's normal to have some deviations. He now only hopes that the self in the dream can help Qingning vent his anger. Stop Zhang Chen's evil deeds. Just as Lin Muibai thought. After the angry shout, before the white-clothed Zhang Chen could reply, he angrily accused her again, "Zhang Chen. You are simply not a human. Junior sister Qingning has gone through life and death, how can you, as the senior brother, have the idea of taking the Yulong spiritual herb? Second senior brother, you misunderstood." Qingning took the lead and protected Zhang Chen behind her, explaining, "Someone just wanted to snatch my Yulong spiritual herb. If it weren't for the timely appearance of senior brother, my spiritual herb would have been taken away by someone. Junior sister, how many times do you want second senior brother to tell me? Our senior brother is hopeless. Don't believe him at all. In my opinion, the person who snatched the spiritual herb was probably arranged by him. Isn't this kind of thing rare? How many opportunities has senior brother taken away from you since you became his disciple? Every time master punishes him, you will plead for him. Although Master is partial, if you hadn't forgiven him many times, he wouldn't dare to act more arrogantly. Third junior sister, listen to second senior brother and stay away from senior brother. He has a twisted nature and corrupt morals. He is the shame of our 9 peaks. Sooner or later, he will be deserted by his friends and family and end up dying alone. Well said. In the void, Lin Muibai clapped his hands in joy. Although he said these words himself, and they were exactly the same as in his memory. But hearing them again at this moment, he still felt very refreshed. But seeing Zhang Chen in white walking towards himself in the picture, Lin Muibai's face darkened again. What happened that day was still in front of him. His scumbag senior brother had always been arrogant and domineering, how could he be insulted like this? If the dream was the same as the fact, then what awaited him next was an extremely vicious beating. Even if junior sister Qingning cried and begged for mercy for him, Zhang Chen still beat him half to death until he fell into a coma. Seeing Zhang Chen in white getting closer and closer to himself in the picture, Lin Muibai closed his eyes silently. Just as he was thinking. Even in a dream, his senior brother would not change at all. A kind voice suddenly appeared. Muibai, you read the books of sages and cultivate the righteous spirit. Such hysterical insults will mess up your state of mind. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 9 generations of villains, the heroines have all turned evil. Author, Fu Zituo. Chapter 19. Lin Muibai was confused. What's the situation? The self in the picture scolded Zhang Chen like this, but Zhang Chen not only didn't take action, but actually became concerned about his state of mind. Is this still my senior brother? Looking carefully, Lin Muibai quickly discovered the violation. The Zhang Chen in his memory always had a villain's signature smile on his face no matter where he went. But Zhang Chen in white clothes in the picture is not like that. Not only his eyes are clean, but his smile is warm. Every word and deed gives people a feeling of above and above board. Muibai, reading thousands of books is not as good as traveling thousands of miles. It is not impossible to enter the Tao through literature, but if you want to be like Emperor Wen and achieve the throne in one day, you need to enter the world of mortals and taste all the hardships in the world, Zhang Chen in white said again. This made Lin Muibai stunned again. Haha, he was equally astonished in the picture, but he suddenly laughed after a moment. He opened Zhang Chen's hand on his shoulder, and he spoke harshly in the picture again, I know why you are acting so strangely today. It turns out that you want me to leave the sect so that no one can oppose you. Zhang Chen, listen carefully. You are not worthy of being senior brother Zhu Feng. Although I, Lin Muibai, am not as good as you in cultivation, I will never let you do whatever you want. Master can protect you for a while, but sooner or later he will see through your true nature. The Fengling Zhang family gave birth to you and raised you, but sooner or later you will be burdened by you and usher in a huge disaster. If one day you suffer the pain of thousands of swords piercing your heart and the pain of your soul being burned. When you are in danger, I will only say one thing. Deserve it? What's that look in your eyes? Do you want to take action? Come on. Today, my cultivation is not as good as yours, so I can't escape the end of being beaten. But one day, if I attain the throne of emperor, I will definitely punish evil and promote good, and eliminate you, the source of evil. This scolding is a bit excessive. Lin Muibai in the void couldn't help but frown when he heard this. At this moment, he had discovered that the Zhang Chen in this dream seemed slightly different from the one in his memory. The other person didn't do anything, but expressed concern, but he said such harsh words to her. This was contrary to the way of a sage. The one who had the same idea as him was Qingning in the picture. After hearing this, Qingning stepped forward quickly, put her hands on her hips and said angrily, Second senior brother. You have gone too far. The former senior brother did do a lot of bad things, but we should give him a chance to change his ways. I am the same when we go out, we should care for each other and be united and harmonious, so that we won't make master sad. Junior sister Qingning, you are still too kind. Lin Mubai in the picture side, I started earlier than you, and I used to be like you and had some illusions about senior brother's changes. But in the end, I saw a hopeless person. You are you, and I am me. Qingning believes that senior brother is not as unbearable as you think. Qingning replied instantly without any hesitation. Lin Mubai in the picture was speechless and could only say, well, I won't argue with you today, just wait and see. However, I know that Yulong spirit grass is extremely important to you, remember. You must not leave it in the hands of evil people. Qingning knew that this evil person was Zhang Chen. Maybe it was to prove his trust, or maybe it was to prove that the second senior brother was wrong. After a moment of hesitation, her mind moved, and a green box made of jasper appeared in her hand. Inside the green box, there is a spiritual grass that exudes rich greenery. Just looking at it can make people clear-headed. Elder brother, today I will leave this jade dragon spirit grass to you for safekeeping. I believe in your character, and I also know that you will not let Qingning down. Qingning handed the green box to Zhang Chen, and Qingning's his face was full of determination. No, Lin Mubai on the screen was anxious. This. Zhang Chen also hesitated. Ignoring Lin Mubai, Qingning's expression became more serious. Senior brother, you have also seen what happened today. This Yulong spirit grass is a 7th grade spiritual treasure. Although it is in the sect, it is not absolutely safe. Senior brother, please keep it for me until I stabilize my Taoist mind and my cultivation is stable, and then give it back to me. Okay. After thinking for a while, Zhang Chen in white finally agreed. Qingning, you will regret your actions today. Lin Mubai in the picture shook his head and sighed. The scene ends abruptly. The sound dissipated, the picture faded, and the surroundings were once again enveloped in nothingness. Why? In the void, Lin Mubai also let out a long sigh. Although the scene just now was different from his memory, the Yulong spirit grass still fell into Zhang Chen's hands. And based on his understanding of the latter, this thing will definitely be forcibly taken possession of by Zhang Chen. Although this was a dream, he was still sure of it. The scene when Qingning lost the Yulong spirit grass came to mind, and he sighed several times. True. Losing the Yulong spirit grass was cruel to Qingning, but it was not without its benefits. At least it made her understand the sinister nature of people's hearts and that Zhang Chen was hopeless. In his thoughts, the picture reappeared. Lin Mubai appeared in front of Zhifeng Hall, and not far in front were Zhang Chen and Qingning. Zhang Chen was still dressed in white, but there was a hint of panic on Qingning's face. Senior brother, that jade dragon spirit grass is very important to Qingning, can you return it to me? Qingning buried her head and bit her lips, her huge beautiful eyes already dim. Qingning, you have come here for this again and again. It's not that I won't return it to you, but your breath is unstable and your mentality is impetuous. It's not the best time to use it. Moreover, if you want to exert the full effect of Yulong Linko, you need to let the 7th grade or above alchemist to refine it into Yulong Dan Bai Yi. Zhang Chen explained carefully. So the senior brother gave the Yulong Linko to Danfan? Help me refine Yulong Dan. Qingning's eyes lit up again. In response, Bai Yi. Zhang Chen just shook his head and said, you also know that the relationship between my brother and Danfan is not very good, so I went to Danggu Tower. I think the pill will be made in the next few days. You should stabilize your state of mind. I will send it to you as soon as the pill is made. Qingning opened her mouth several times to speak, but in the end she only said one word. Oh. Finally, she left. Her back was a little lost, and her slender fingers were tightly clenched. Obviously, she failed to ask for it again and again, and at this moment her trust in Jiang Chen in her heart has gradually begun to collapse. Seeing this, Lin Muibai in the void shook his head. What unstable state of mind, what Yulong pill? In his opinion, this is definitely an excuse. Based on his understanding of Jiang Chen, the latter must want to use these excuses to forcibly take away the Yulong spirit grass. Slowly approaching Jiang Chen, although knowing that Jiang Chen could not see him or hear his words, Lin Muibai still whispered. Even in a dream, are you still so unbearable? Senior brother, although I often oppose you, in fact, I am the same as the third and fourth junior sisters. There is no moment that I don't want to have an upright and admirable senior brother. I hope Dan Gyuda can keep his word and refine the pill as soon as possible. Otherwise, my reputation as a senior brother may fall to the bottom again. Jiang Chen in white suddenly muttered to himself. This shocked Lin Muibai. Because this sounded. It seems that Jiang Chen has no intention of taking the Yulong spirit grass. 9 generations of villains, the heroines have all turned evil. Author, Fu Zituo. Chapter 20. Screen change. It was night. The bright moon was hanging, and the sea of stars was shining. When Lin Muibai came to his senses, he found himself standing in the ancient forest far away from the sect. While he was confused, he saw a figure flash, and Jiang Chen, who looked tired, appeared under the ancient tree. You have traveled thousands of miles a day, so take a rest first. Jiang Chen in white gasped and sat cross-legged with his back against the ancient tree. With a thought, a pill with a strong aroma appeared in his hand. While looking at it carefully, he murmured. Well, although the pill is of medium quality, it is not bad. The old guys in Dangyuda clearly completed the pill a few days ago, but they deliberately delayed it, clearly targeting me. It seems that the rumors are true. The elder Mawu of Danfan has a close relationship with Dangyuda. Well, after a short rest, I will go to find junior sister Qingning. She has asked me for the Yulong Linko 4 times. If I don't give it to her again, even she will be completely disappointed in me, right? Hey, why is it so difficult to be a real and admirable senior brother? From these words, Lin Muibai heard helplessness and bitterness. After carefully looking at Jiang Chen, he smiled comfortably. At this moment, he was convinced. The white-clothed Jiang Chen in front of him was completely different from what he remembered. Although he was misunderstood, he was indeed a respectable senior brother. Thinking back to his words in the dream, Lin Muibai was furious again. Unlike reality, Jiang Chen in front of him always considers his junior brothers and sisters. Why can't he understand in this dream? Isn't such a senior brother exactly what he wants? Hey, it's a good thing it's a dream, otherwise I want to beat myself up. Lin Muibai sighed. It's strange. It's obviously a dream, but it's too real. As long as he is not careful, he will be immersed in it and can't extricate himself. Shaking his head constantly, Lin Muibai whispered, it's just a dream. I read the books of sages. It's impossible to be so excessive like myself in this dream. Really? He was a little unsure. This feeling is inexplicable and makes no sense. But the strong sense of guilt has begun to spread in his heart. It's okay, as long as the senior brother gives the Yulong pill to junior sister Qingning, everyone will see his changes. This kind of misunderstanding should not happen again. Lin Muibai comforted himself. He suddenly admired Xuanhuan and Qingning. At least in this dream, Xuanhuan was still partial to Jiang Chen, and Qingning was not like him, only disgusted with Jiang Chen. Thinking of this, Lin Muibai felt relieved and sighed. It is undeniable that this is indeed a beautiful dream, because in this dream, I do have an upright senior brother. Jiang Chen. An angry roar suddenly sounded. The sound was so loud, like the sun piercing the night, instantly startling countless sleeping birds and beasts, and the vitality contained in the sound was like a wave, suddenly shaking the ancient tree, letting the dead leaves fall down. Looking in the direction of the sound, Lin Muibai's pupils shrank. I saw a young man in Confucian clothes, holding a sword in his left hand and a pot in his right hand, walking slowly with a strong sense of drunkenness. This person was himself. And the moment he saw himself, Lin Muibai's heart beat and had a bad premonition. Muibai, have you been drinking? Seeing this, Zhang Chen in white clothes also frowned. Burp. Lin Muibai in the picture burped, his face slightly red, and his body swayed from side to side, saying, "What's wrong with drinking?" Listening to the water tunes, I woke up from the afternoon drunkenness, but I was still worried. If I don't drink, how can I get rid of my worries? If I don't drink, how dare I come to see you, my senior brother? This made Zhang Chen's face solemn. Lin Muibai in the void was the same. Family members know their own affairs. His drinking habits are really not good. It is said that scholars love wine, and Lin Muibai is the same, but he gets drunk and goes crazy. When he first became a disciple, he was too excited and drank 2 pots of wine. That night, he sang all the way, chanted thousands of poems, and walked all over the 9 peaks. He even asked Xuanhuan who came to stop him to pour wine. As a result, he faced the wall for 100 days. When he saw through his senior brother as a scumbag, he drank 3 pots of wine, broke into Zhang Chen's residence, and cursed throughout the sect. As a result, if Xuanhuan had not appeared in time, he would definitely have broken his legs. When he learned that his parents had passed away and he was alone for the rest of his life, he drank 5 pots of wine and broke into the residence of the head of Juyan sect, insisting that he return his parents. As a result, the head was furious and prepared to forcibly drive him away, but who knew that he would use the righteousness in his body to resist. The head did not want to hurt him and was in a dilemma. If Xuanhuan had not appeared in time again, I am afraid that the whole sect would think that Lin Muibai's parents were really killed by the head. It was also after this incident that Xuanhuan gave Lin Muibai a strict order: do not drink more than 1 pot of wine, otherwise he would burn his books. Lin Muibai regarded books as his life, so he naturally did not dare to disobey. Therefore, the drunken madness has not happened for a long time. Big brother, do you know that junior sister Qingning is in an unstable state of mind and almost got possessed by a demon when she was practicing just now? Lin Muibai in the picture asked with a smell of alcohol. How could this happen? Zhang Chen was shocked. How could this happen? How could this happen? Drunk Lin Muibai was furious and raised his sword to ask, no matter how others persuaded her, junior sister Qingning always trusted you. But you ignored the friendship between fellow disciples and took away her Yulong Linko. She asked for it again and again, but she still refused to return it. You actually asked me why I did this. There are some misunderstandings about this matter. I was just about to. Zhang Chen hurriedly explained. No point in talking, Lin Muibai waved his hand and interrupted with a drunken voice, today, I will clean up the mess. Zhang Chen, I have tolerated you for long enough. Hearing this, Zhang Chen sighed and said helplessly, second junior brother, there are some misunderstandings between you and me, but now is not the time to argue. Let's go back to the sect first, and I will explain everything to you after you sober up. Explanation? Senior brother, I am not here to listen to your explanation. Drunk Lin Muibai shook his head. He poured another sip of wine into his mouth, raised his sword to the sky, and the vitality in his body circulated. A great energy came out of his body, gathered at the tip of the sword and shot straight into the sky. In an instant, the world changed. Several phantoms of saints dressed in Confucian robes and white hair and beard appeared in the clouds. The phantoms stood with their hands behind their backs, and the gazes they looked at Zhang Chen seemed to penetrate the soul. They opened and closed their lips, and made waves of ancient and wise sounds. Evil people are cunning and flattering, and they get what they want without justice. Boom! The moment the voice fell, lightning flashed in the sky. The ancient way is fair and just, the evil ones keep their mouths shut and the good ones sing. The wind suddenly rose and the clouds surged. Several thunder dragons rolled and surged in the clouds. With each turn, there was a muffled thunder. The frequent lightning illuminated the earth like daylight. "Stop it," Zhang Chen stopped loudly and said anxiously, "you have studied hard for more than 10 years. You have finally cultivated a trace of righteousness. How can you waste it here?" "Haha," Lin Mubai in the picture laughed wildly and said nonchalantly, "I can tolerate you until now, first because the master does not want to see fellow disciples hurt themselves, and second because righteousness is hard to come by, I really don't want to give it up. But if I can use this trace of righteousness to exchange for the peace of my Juyan sex Zhufeng from now on, it will not be a loss." "You want to kill me?" Zhang Chen's face sank. "Kill you?" Drunk Lin Mubai shook his head, "I don't want to kill you, and I don't want to kill you. Although you are not worthy, you are still the eldest brother of Zhufeng. Besides, the eldest brother has the support of Fengling Zhang family, so how can he not have a trump card? I am afraid I can't kill you either." "Then what do you want?" Zhang Chen asked again. "Simple. Destroy your cultivation." The long sword in his hand slowly swung down, and Lin Muibai's eyes in the picture were shining white, and his voice overlapped with the ancient Taoist sound. "Evil people fear others but not God, good people bully others but not God. Eldest brother, you should turn back." Boom. The voice fell, and the dull thunder sounded again, deafening. In an instant, the thunder dragons in the clouds gathered and formed a huge purple thunder dragon. The purple dragon was attracted by the righteousness of heaven and earth, blessed by the phantom of the saints, and carried the power of heaven and earth, and chopped straight towards Zhang Chen.